Everyone, and I want to welcome you to the Audit and Finance Committee 2026 Agency Budgets Review. So, department heads, I want you to know that you will be asked a series of questions related to your budget information that you have pre-submitted to this committee for review. Please answer as completely as you can. However, if any answers to our questions require more than a brief explanation, you may indicate so and provide a more thorough response to the committee in writing via our alleged budget at albanycountiny.ny.gov email. Also, in order to complete our examination of your budgets, it may be necessary to forward you some additional questions after tonight's hearing. Now, I want to remind everybody of a couple of things here. That this is our first session, and it is the session of separately elected officials. There are 8 presentations tonight. Okay, our first one will be the county executive. The second will be the county clerk. The third will be the district attorney. The fourth will be the sheriff. 5 will be the comptroller. 6 will be the coroners. 7 will be the board of elections, and 8 management and budget. I want all of you to keep your the other presenters in mind while you are talking, and remember what I said. If you cannot answer, you have the ability to excuse me. Remember, if you cannot answer the question briefly, just you have the option of sending us a report, okay? All right, so now we are going to start with our majority council taking attendance.
Madam Chairman, Ms. Willingham.
Present.
Reedy is excused. Alex is on her way. Camiso.
Here.
Tomallowitz.
Here.
Ray Joyce.
Here.
Sakakis. Here. Birdworth is excused. Grimm.
Here.
You have a quorum.
Okay, now I'll go down the line here for the rest of our people present. I do have the chair of the law committee, Jeff Kuhn, is here, and I have the chair of the public safety committee here, which is Frank Camiso. So let us go down the line here, starting with Mr. Miller. We didn't call your name out. Okay, so let me do this. You weren't here last week, right?
No.
Oh, okay, I'm sorry. So for the rest of the members that are here, we're going to go down the table, except for the actual Audit and Finance Committee people whose names have already been called as being in attendance. I want you to announce yourself, who you are, and what you represent. Thank you very much.
Matthew Miller, legislator for the 36th District, Selkirk, Lemont.
Susan Barilliard, 22nd Legislative District, Latham Union. Ellen Roselle, 24th District, Colony.
Vicky Plotsky, 38th District, in Scotland Valley.
Dorora Fekoro, 7th District, Albany.
Jennifer Whalen, Colony, District 21.
Dave Mayo, Latham, District 20.
Dennis Feeney, Western Guilderland, District 29.
Bill Rickard, City Code 17th Legislative District, and also the chair of the Public Works Committee.
Danielle Gillespie, 12th District.
Susan Tata, District 5, Albany.
Frank Moriello, District 27, South Colony.
Jeffrey Cooney, District 35, Delmar and Glenmont.
Okay, thank you very much. All right, we're going to move right ahead now, and we are going to start with the county executive, and our presenters are, you will please announce yourselves and let everyone know who you represent.
Mike McLaughlin, Deputy County Executive.
Dave Riley, Commissioner of Management and Budget.
Cameron Sagan, Director of Policy.
All right, thank you very much. I'm ready for your presentation.
Thank you very much, Madam Chair and members of the committee. It's good to be back for our second visit for this budget season. My presentation will be brief for the County Executive's Office. Our budget has no changes beyond the COLA adjustments for salaries within the department. The one line, we've had a few questions that may appear to change is the Director of Strategic Planning. There was a budget amendment some point throughout the year, in the middle of the year, to adjust that. The anticipation was going to be that there was going to be some realignment of salaries within the department. That no longer, or that didn't end up being needed, so that line has been fundamentally returned to what its original proposal was in the budget, and then the COLA has been added to it. So that's the explanation for that discrepancy, if you notice that in the lines. With that, I will open it for any other questions.
Thank you,
Mr.
Madam.
Demolowitz.
Thank you, Madam Chairman. Page 96, your second Director of Strategic Planning, LBC. Could you tell me what that position is and what that person does? And I think LBC stands for Legislative Black Caucus, right?
No. So that's an individual in our office. Basically, our economic sustainability coordinator does a lot of operations work, does a lot of the planning, involved with the planning department, that, our sustainability, our solar panels, our electric vehicles, all of those things.
But if I may, Mr. Demolowitz, you are correct. It's a
Turn the mic around.
it's a typo due to them using the same object code as the Director of Strategic Planning in the LBC. It'll be corrected for the adopted budget.
Is that a correct title for that job?
The Director of Strategic Planning was his existing title. That LBC just got added in error.
Thank you.
All right, I'll start with a question. Discuss the Homeless and Housing Solutions Summit event mentioned in your departmental projects for 2026.
Okay. There's been a escalation of efforts by the county to assist certainly the city of Albany, but also other urban centers within the county to deal with what seems to be a more visible issue with homeless folks. Many times it's involving business owners and things of that nature. This started a few years ago with the mental health department when we had a pilot project up on Lark Street where our mobile crisis unit from mental health was up there and stayed at that area for a while as a rapid response unit to the concerns of both residents as well as businesses in that area, and had some success. And that transitioned into a partnership with the City of Albany where we partnered with CARES for a more comprehensive addressing of the street homeless. We're talking about folks who are on the street, many of you I'm sure, talking panhandlers and folks who may approach you on the street. And so through that effort, it was decided that getting a larger meeting of the minds together to kind of get input from everybody to further the ideas of how to address homelessness in the county.
And to build off of that a little bit, I think as we've heard from a lot of our providers, we are seeing programming being cut at the federal level, and we figured now is kind of the perfect time to try to utilize what shrinking resources there exist coming into our community to find efficiencies, to improve communication, and to essentially do more with less. So that's a big part of this push.
All right. Does the Youth Safety and Leadership Pathways Initiative presented in your departmental budget the Youth Safety and Leadership Pathways Initiative presented in your departmental projects for 2026?
So this is an initiative, it's a multifaceted initiative that we're pursuing. It is a way of combining recreation with mentorship, with education, looking to target the younger individuals who are at risk of penetrating the probation system and the, trying to prevent incarceration. But this is a collaborative effort between probation, DCYF, and some conversations we began having with the legislature as well.
Okay, thank you. All right, and what municipalities are you looking at partnering with to expand the CORD, motor, and the LEAD programs?
Any municipality that would like to cooperate.
All right, okay, so now I'm going to open this up to questions from the rest of the body.
Any members first, and then.
Any members from the committee? Ms. Rosano?
It says host a homeless and housing solution summit, event with area housing stakeholders to streamline and expanding housing opportunities and further renovate the nursing home. Is there any plan or to do something with the property that was previously the Anley home? I know we made it shovel ready, but is this homeless summit having anything to do with that property at all?
No, the homeless summit is only focused on the issues of homelessness. It has nothing to do with the Enley property at all.
It's a one-day event, the summit, yeah.
Because it's looped in with the nursing home on the.
We'll
I'm
take a
sorry,
look
go
at
ahead.
it. Yeah, if that's the case, then it's just a formatting error.
Thank you.
Are there any questions from any other members? If no, thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Good night.
Good evening, Mr. Yep.
1410,
Please remember to speak into the mic. And any of the other people who are speaking, can you pass the mic to them, please?
I'd be happy to, Chip.
Okay, thank you very much. You may begin with your presentation. Thank you.
Well, good evening, Madam Chairwoman, and members of the Audit and Finance Committee, and other members of the county legislature. It's great to be here with you tonight to present the 2026 budget for the Albany County Clerk's Office and the Albany County Hall of Records, which is A1410 and A1411. With me tonight, I'll allow them to introduce themselves.
Geraldine Gould, Executive Deputy.
Greg Carlson, Deputy County Clerk.
Thank you. And they'll be here also to answer any questions that the legislature might have tonight. First, I'd like to just talk about a couple of bullet points that were involved with the Albany County Clerk's Office and the Albany County Hall of Records. Once again this year, we've been fortunate enough to be awarded a grant through the Local Government Records Management Improvement Fund. And this year, it's a shared services grant with the town of Bethlehem in the amount of $150,000. So we'll be working very closely with the town of Bethlehem officials on getting all their vital statistics records up to date, and where they won't have to use their big books anymore. Everything will be right in front of them on their desks, which is a big bonus when it comes to vital statistics, because we need to cherish those records and keep them as well maintained as we possibly can. So we're looking forward to that project this year. Once again, with the New York State Department of State, we have a $306,000 grant with the City of Waterville that we're working on. Everything's been approved. We've gotten the go-ahead. We just haven't gotten the Department of State to release any of the funds yet for that project. So that's a project in waiting, and as soon as we can get the money, we can get started with that, but everything's been already finalized and ready to go. So we're excited about that. We're going to further the online availability for our deeds and mortgages. We're going to go another 10 years, and what years are we going to do this time?
Back to the 1930s.
1930s. So we progressed a long way from 1920s to the 1930s, or 2020s to the 1930s, to give our constituents access to our records online. Now, if they want it certified, they do have to come into the office, but now they can at least review from 1930 to current on a computer at home, which is a big bonus. And we've gotten a lot of compliments on that, by the way, that they have that ability to do that, and we're very proud of that. Another thing we continue advancing is our technology of adding images to our court records. Now, why do we want to do that? Well, actually, what it does, it decreases the need to request records from the Albany County Hall of Records by having that availability online. So that assists with maintaining the records down at the Hall of Records so they don't get used all the time, and it also provides instant access when we need it. We also intend on doing a lot more work at the Hall of Records when it comes to getting projects done, and Craig can tell you a little bit about that. But we have a lot going on there, and we're very proud of the Hall of Records, by the way. I call it the gem of Albany County whenever we have tours come into the facility. And we have something going on October 22nd involving firehouses in Albany County. And we have a guest speaker, Tony Alpalco, who is coming in, and he will be telling us and giving us for History Month, and we're excited about that. One of the other items I think it's really important to talk to you about tonight is, in the past years, we've come before the legislature to tell you that we have so many vacancies in the Albany County Clerk's office and the Albany County Hall of Records. Well, thanks to the executive branch, the legislative branch, the CSEA Local 801, collaboratively got together, and they are going to help us out. And they're going to help us out by giving, in the 2026 budget, we're going to give an additional $5,000 to clerk ones and laborers in addition to their 3% raise. Now, the reason why I've asked for this for so many years is because of the fact that we'll train an employee for 6 months, and out the door they go to another county agency or a state agency because they're going to make more money. Well, now, by giving them this raise, we are hoping that that will not happen now into the future, that we'll keep the employees that we have and keep them long and keep them in longevity so that we can continue training them. Because all you know, training is very important when it comes to running an organizational structure like the county clerk's office and the Hall of Records. So we're hoping that these bonus raises, if approved, will be an incentive to keep the employees that are there now. Additionally, we've raised the salaries of a couple of the other employees to adjust to the need of being higher than the elevated salaries for the other employees. We've also given Jerry Gould a $5,000 raise and Craig Carlson a $5,000 raise in order to make them at a level that all other supervisors and directors and all the of upper agency level, they'll be at the same salary structure. Now, the one last thing that is in that part of the budget is for 2026, they've increased my salary for 12%, and that would be for 4 years, one shot, 12%, similar to what we've given all other elected officials in previous years. I'm not doing anything different. I'm doing the same thing in hopes that I get reelected. Those are the bullet points that I have for you on a few of the things going on in the county clerk's office and the Hall of Records, and now I open it up to you for questions and comments.
Okay, all right. First I want to point out that the pages in the budget book for the county clerk is 192 through 196, and that is also the same as far as your digital. The budget pages for the county clerk in your budget book can be found on pages 192. beginning at page 192. As far as your digital pads are concerned, they line up perfectly. So you can find them on your iPad or your laptop also. Okay, thank you. Now, questions from my deputy, Gary DeMond.
Hey, Bruce. I think the odds are pretty good you're going to win. With respect to the new employees that we're trying to hire, are we doing anything more, anything different so that we can go out and try to get them to come work for us?
Recently, we worked with civil service and we, posted our positions on the portal, and we've had some luck with Indeed recently, getting more people coming in. Within the last couple weeks, we actually had several very good applicants, and we hope to, by the end of the year, have our vacancies filled.
Are those salary levels compared to
They're
other
also-
areas so we don't lose them?
Well, that's the plan, because currently the starting salary was mandated by the union contract at 32, which is very low. So with this bump of the 5,000, we're hoping to be more competitive with the other county agencies.
Your fees for services for this year are flat. Is there a reason you don't anticipate any more business this year than last year?
It's not so much based on business. A lot of our fees for services are contractual with, the vendor who does the county clerk system, the FOIL request system, and the maintenance of our microfilm machines. That's the bulk of it in the county clerk's part of it.
Do you want to answer for the hall records?
The hall has different.
Yeah, at the Hall of Records, we have some contractual things with our machines and various vendors we use for electronic records. We have a couple of vendors we work with our contact management system and electronic contract, or imaging we have at the hall.
So you see all that being flat this year?
Yes.
Yeah, we have no change. The contract, we just went out to contract with IQS, which is Info Quick Solutions. There was no change in the fee that they're going to charge us this year or for the next 4 years.
And the fees for services is up 80,000. Is that part of the Bethlehem money or?
Craig,
Well, you got 376 in, and last year you got a big grant, so.
Yes, that was put in, Gary, that was put in
So
for.
look at the year before, between.
That was put in for the grant. We have not received the money yet from the state based on NICIT and both general services. And our Bethlehem grant is for 25 and 26. We still have not received
So
that.
wait, that's not in here.
No, that will be in.
And the 80 is another.
Yeah.
grant. Thank you. Thank you. Okay.
2024 county clerk fees revenue remained flat over this year's budget at $3 million. Now, what I would like to know is the office on track to meet their revenue projection for 2025, and what assumptions are being made about it continuing at $3 million for 2026? You can find it on page 194, anyone that wants to follow along, thank you.
A lot of our revenue is generated by mortgage tax, real estate tax, based on, real estate transactions. It's very hard to project how much we think we're gonna take in, because it all depends on the interest rates. If the interest rates go down and people start refinancing, we get a lot more revenue, but right now, we don't really have a feel as to where that's gonna go. For 2025, right now, we're projecting at like 83% currently with.
That's
the end
to
of
October,
September.
yeah.
That's the end of September.
So we're getting close to that $3 million mark. We may be short, but we're close.
Okay. Any other questions from members? Yes, Mr. Grimm.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I love your enthusiasm, Mr. Ruby, for sure. Are you saying the union contract was negotiated and you want 5,000 above the union contract?
Correct.
I wonder how other union contracts would feel about that.
I was not a part of that negotiation project. I'd have to leave that to Division of Management and Budget. Dave, do you have any answers to that?
So, let's get rid of the microphone here.
Yeah.
So that was a discussion directly with CSEA. They oversee the majority of the county bargaining units. They agreed when comparing it to their other CSEA members doing very similar work in other agencies, that they should have been in line. So they were quite happy to hear that we agreed with them.
Well, isn't it true that I don't think I've met a department that didn't want more salary money for their employees? And the salaries are a big piece of the pie for our budget. And I noticed, according to my numbers, your increased spending is up 11% this year in projected 2026, which is almost twice what the overall budget increase is for the county.
Well, I think a majority of that has to do with this salary increase that we're talking about right here. Normally we do not. Go ahead. Oh, I'm sorry. I thought I had a big mouth. No, normally, and majority of it, this table can tell, we don't ask for any more money when it comes to salaries. We usually go right by what the contract rate is, which is 3%, and I believe that's for another 3 years. But this year, or past years, like I said earlier, we've been losing so many employees that we really felt we had to do something. So we took a more proactive role with that this year, and that's why you're going to see that amount go up so much. Next year, you will not see that from us again.
Now, you said there's a projected pay raise for yourself.
12%.
How can you do that during your term?
That'll be next year.
Terms up next.
This is the 26 budget.
Okay. I just think we have to be mindful of how all the agencies are impacted when it comes to salaries. That's the only.
No, I understand that, and believe me, Jerry and I did a full-scale research on laborers and clerk ones throughout Albany County and found out just how low our laborers and clerk ones were being paid compared to the rest of Civil Service Employees Association union members throughout Albany County.
All right.
Thank you, Madam Chair.
All right. Do I have any more questions from any members of the Audit and Finance Committee? Okay, so Carolyn McLaughlin, then Sue Petto, and then Ms. Rosano.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I've had the opportunity to visit the Whole Records. I think it's an amazing organization. And last time I was down there were talks about expansion. And can you just provide?
Sure. As you know, we built that expansion in 2015, 17, and believe it or not, that expansion is full. What we have done is we've become more aggressive with our county agencies now to get the destructions so that we can get those records out of there and bring in what they need to put the current stuff in. So we've been really aggressive with all of our county, and the department heads that are here can tell you, we're always on the phone, what can we get rid of? Now, the problem with a lot of the agencies with destructions is, even though it tells them 6 or 7 years, they won't let us destroy it. And they have to sign off on it before I can destroy it. So that's what brings that intake and puts us back so far behind. Have we researched anywhere to go anywhere else at this point in time? No, because we're really trying to save the taxpayers' money at the Albany County Hall of Records by doing what we have with what we got. And I think we're being pretty aggressive about that. And I think that, you know, it may happen, right?
Yeah, we may possibly expand, but thankfully the last several years, we had a hard time finding a contractor to come pick up stuff that can be destroyed. But now we are piggybacking with the state archives to destroy the records, and it's been going smooth. We actually put a call in to take out another 18 pallets. That's over 500 boxes, so that'd be nice. We're gonna do this on a routine schedule. They get more boxes out, because it's easy bringing them in, it's harder to get them out. Like Bruce said, people don't want to sign off, though legally they can sign off on them, and we're to the point, like, if you don't sign off, we may not be able to bring in your records point, but hopefully you don't have to get there.
Okay. I have one more question, if you don't mind.
Yeah.
The benefits in the county clerk's office, hospital and medical insurance, what's driving that looks like 40% increase or something there. Page 194. From 289 to 506,000.
So we budget all fringe rates countywide. We take the total amount estimated, whether it's through health insurance, the retirement bills, things like that, then parse it out based on employee counts. Then, you know, so if I can see, this is the 338 to the 351?
No.
No, next, on page 194.
So page 194, health insurance.
The benefits section, health.
Yep.
I mean, hospital and medical insurance.
So I will take a look at that, to see why, but that, it's based on the employee breakdown, things along those lines. They may have had some anomalies this year with some very high bills, so then that was kind of, you know, averaged in for the next year on the actual. I'd have to take a look to see what exactly drove it.
Thank you, thank you. All right, Ms. Beto?
No, I agree, yeah, let me take a look.
Thank you. The clerk ones are getting the $5,000 per position raise, correct?
Correct.
Okay, then why are we showing a decrease from 2025 to 2026 in the line for the clerk ones? And maybe that's where the extra 100,000 is missing, because it should show at least a $100,000 increase, right, at that rate, and instead it's showing a decrease of about 5,000.
I
In the
will have to
clerk
take a
one
look at that
line.
one too. All right, yeah, let me take a look at that too to see the
Hello?
previous. I'm gonna have to take a look at that. I don't have the calc on the previous number in front of me. I will get back to you on that.
Thank you.
Yep.
I just want to remind the members, I can't hear you. You're talking that way, and so people are asking me to talk a little louder, and so we're missing some things up this way because you're talking that way, okay? So I just want to remind the members to speak up.
Sure. The question was, the clerk one line is expected to have a $5,000 per position raise. There's 20 positions listed, so we should be seeing an increase in that line, but instead we're seeing a decrease from 2025 to 2026 in the clerk one line. We should be seeing at least a $100,000 increase.
So he'll be getting back to you on that, and so we're satisfied with that.
Yeah, no, I'll take a look. I don't know.
Okay, thank you, Dave. All right, Ms. Rosano?
Isn't it?
One thing, this is just a bad number, but let me.
Yeah, 751 is right.
Yep.
Right?
We'll have management and budget get back to Susan about that
Yes.
answer.
Yes, I think that's what I thought I heard, so he'll be getting back to you. Ms. Rosano?
Yes, could you tell me if there's a difference between a laborer at the Hall of Records and a laborer at the county clerk? Because the pay is different.
Well, the mandated starting salary is what the new people come in at, but the other ones, the laborers at the Hall of Records have been there longer, so they've been getting the 3% raise.
It looks like the Hall of Records laborer is less than the laborer at the county clerk's office. I don't know if there's a difference in the duties that are required, or if it's just an accident.
That's it.
Yeah,
I can give a per line breakout of that.
yeah. Yeah, because the starting salary is less, and then the
I'll give
ones
a-
that have
I'll
been
do a-
there longer are making more.
Yeah, I'll do a per line breakout so you guys can see the
Could I
difference.
have your attention just for one moment, please?
So, just to be clear, because this year is the first time we've done pooled lines, so some of the numbers, when you look at it, you need to be very clear about how many people you're talking about for that line. In this particular instance, at the Hall of Records, we're talking about 4 individuals in that line. And over in the county clerk's office, we're talking about 2 individuals. And there are salary steps, as previously mentioned. Newer salary steps will start at the lower end of the range. Folks that have been there for a significant number of years will be at the higher end.
As Dave said, he'll get back to us and do a breakout, and I'll make sure that all the Audit and Finance Committee members and those in attendance, legislators in attendance, will get a copy of that. Just want to make you aware of the pooled lines. So some of the numbers jump significantly because similar titles are pulled into one line. Thank you.
Thank you.
Question about that, Madam Chair. That's a change, isn't it?
It is, it's a
Because I think
change.
it's confusing, because I go down and see what the costs are, then somebody says, oh no, there are three of them. And I think it makes it a little harder to follow in the budget.
True story. It is in some respects, but in other respects, there are real managerial reasons for why you want to go to pooled lines. Don't necessarily want to get into all the technical aspects of that here, but you should be aware that in most municipalities, especially municipalities our size, pooled lines have been around for a fairly long time. It's just our first foray into it this year. But just wanted to make you aware of that, that technical issue.
It was something I had to get adjusted to also. Okay, so if there are no other questions?
Well, thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah, I know. Cut my tie off after this.
So they got another board. You can sign it.
Yeah, right.
Oh, yeah.
What's your favorite color?
All right, good evening, everyone. Okay, so now we are at the district attorney, Lee Kimlin, which is in pages 199 in the budget book. So, DA, would you please just tell us who the rest of your presenters may be at your table, okay?
Of course. Madam Chair and members of the committee, good evening. With me at the table tonight, Chief Assistant Joe Maney.
Good evening.
My in-house counsel, Ethics and Compliance Counsel, Pat Collins. Also joining us here, my Chief of Staff, Jennifer Aguila, my Deputy Chief District Attorney, Jessica Blaine Lewis, my Chief Investigator and Director of Operations, Adam Hornick. We're happy with our budget submission and believe it will help us fulfill my mandate, which is to seek justice above all else. With the help of the county executive and members of the legislature, we were able to amend our budget earlier this year, which led to 100% staff retention, as well as the onboarding of numerous professionals that we would have not able otherwise to afford. We started with 18 vacancies on January 1st and now have only 2, one of which we think we're going to be able to fill in December. Our current budget submission will allow us to expand upon those efforts. Included in our submission are additional positions which will allow for upward movement for our attorneys. Additional administrative staff will help prepare for trials, and we've added an audio-visual production specialist who will assist our use of technology in the courtroom, which will help jurors better understand complex cases. And I want to cite 2 complex cases, one of which we were able to win last week, which was the Briette case, which was, we were able to get a conviction on all counts of an indictment, which was the dirt biking through Albany in which a young woman was seriously hurt. And also the Jacob Klein trial, which was a murder case in the town of New Scotland, Slingerlands, which Jessica Blaine Lewis, our New York Prosecutor of the Year, was able to win mostly on the strength of her audiovisual presentation throughout the trial and her closing argument. We have created a bureau chief for local court and training to help train newer attorneys and alleviate docket congestion in places like Colony
Gilliland, and other municipal courts. We do not anticipate any significant increases in contractual costs. In fact, we've taken measures to decrease certain expenditures. We've changed the way we obtain travel for experts, victims, and witnesses through the use of the New York State travel agent, a change that should drastically decrease costs. That's thanks to Adam Hornick. I want to cite him specifically for coming up with that solution. We've moved towards a more efficient vehicle fleet, introduced free online legal education for our attorneys, and changed certain internal processes that should help reduce transcript expenses. Finally, we have dedicated a lot of effort to combating youth violence, especially youth-involved gun crimes. Through things like our community partnership group, which meets every month and looks after young men and women who may have been caught with guns. And I wanted you to understand this is a big swing, because we're taking young men and women off the streets who have been caught with guns and trying to give them a second chance instead of just committing them to state prison. We're also remove barriers to Judge Ackerman's UCAN program. We have a felony youth diversion board, which also seeks to take young men and women out of the criminal justice system and give them a second chance. And I've had personal meetings with Judge Ackerman, the Public Defender's Office, members of my office, in steps towards creating the first of its kind gun court in the state of New York. Along with additional things like starting Legal Lives, which seeks to introduce us into fifth graders' classrooms to really introduce what the district attorney's office can do in a community. We seek to be role models, and social security and community support, mentorship, treatment, and counseling are all those tools that we're going to use to keep youth out of the criminal justice system and give people a second chance when deserving. Now you have our 10-page submission to the questions asked. I know that there were some email questions submitted, and I think we submitted some responses, but I'd like to open up to any questions that any of you may have.
Okay, yes, Mr. Demonowitz.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you, Mr.
Of course.
You talk about your gun program and second chances.
Yeah.
What happens to the third chance? How many chances do they get?
Fool me once, right?
Just once, right,
No,
yeah.
no. So look, you know, there is a significant problem that we have with young members of our community who we give them a first chance and they spoil it. We try and give them a second chance. And we've got volunteers, we've got members of the community who come in this community partnership group, and they are, you know, mostly, you know, men who have been through the criminal justice system, have seen the mistakes that they have made, and they're trying to help us talk sense into these kids, young adults, and try and get them on the right path. But ultimately, we understand that whatever chance we give them, you know, sometimes it just doesn't work. And, you know, by that time, though, they're 18, 19, 20 years old, and, you know, unfortunately, you know, if state prison is that next step, then it is what it is. And look, this is not, you know, check the box, you've got this chance, now we're throwing your life away. One of the real strengths of my office is that we're able to, on a granular level, examine every case as it comes in. And so, you know, we rely on our community resources, the men and women of law enforcement, to be able to tell us, like, hey, look, this is a life worth saving. Or you've given this young man as many chances as he deserves, and we've got to move on to something else. So.
Well, after a while, I mean, you're not getting any more guns off the street. If you're just letting the same person, I mean, one person can cause, as you know, many crimes. And I think that, you know, 1 or 2 chances are fine, but when you get into the 3 and 4 chances, some people just can't be helped.
You know, sir, I again, I don't want to commit to a formulaic way towards
I'm
approaching
just saying,
cases.
yeah,
You know, but.
Please. Okay, thank you.
Okay.
All right. So now, Do we have any questions from the members? Ms. Lakakis?
I wonder if you can tell me, what is hazardous duty pay?
Hazardous duty pay is, that is money given only to investigators who may be involved in some sort of, all of our investigators are old retired cops, so that's for them, not the DAs.
Did he answer your question?
Yeah.
Okay, thank you. All right, so could you please discuss, okay, I'll get you. Could you please discuss the highlights of next year's projects for the office and how your budget aids in your efforts to accomplish them? Such as the Capital District Organized Retail Crime Alliance, new in-housing training programs, and the redesigned website that increase public transparency.
Sure. So we'll start first with ORCA, or Organized Retail Crime Alliance. That's being headed by one of our most experienced prosecutors, and that is a combination of retailers, loss prevention specialists, police departments, especially in Colony and Bethlehem, and even the city of Albany, because we find that's where the stuff is resold. Even the Retail Alliance of New York, we're all getting together and we're figuring out what are the best ways to combat retail theft. And I know it's anecdotal right now, but we've seen shrinkage loss, and shrinkage is the stuff that's stolen, right? We've seen shrinkage decrease in some stores in Colony by a third or up to a half. So we're having a real impact, and that's because we're going after the heads of the retail crime rings. Now, I'm not necessarily concerned with the men and women who are stealing food to feed their kids. I'm concerned with the people stealing, tens or hundreds of boxes of Tide Pods or things like that, because those are handfuls of jersey out of Dick's at Crossgates Mall. Those are things that are being resold at a profit on Central Avenue or at the bodegas in downtown Albany. So we're going after those rings, but that is something we're looking to expand upon. And I don't want to get ahead of the governor, because I know she's going to roll something out, but I know that my office has been in touch because there's some discussion about using some of the elements that we've created for a statewide program. Our training program. Look, Albany is different, right? Like, we all know that. We have this great law school. It's a feeder program here, and men and women come out of the law school and want to become a DA for a lot of reasons, but I also think it's because there's value added to the job. They may not get paid as much as their associates going to private firms, but they come to the DA's office because they realize this is the best place to be a litigator. This is the best place to learn how to talk to a jury, how to talk to a room full of people, and how to present their points cogently and effectively. So what I want to do is, maybe I can't pay these young men and women what a big white shoe law firm can pay them, but I can pay them in experience and training. But I want to make sure I have a very experienced DA, and we just started this. When's our class on board here? Thursday? Thursday. We're presenting a class on how to pick a jury. Now, this is something every young attorney needs to know. This is something that, frankly, most young attorneys are terrified of doing. But I'm going to make my DAs the best in the state, if I can help it, at doing this, because ultimately they're going to stick around. And then suddenly, instead of leaving after a year or two and all that time, energy, and money that I may have wasted, suddenly they're sticking around and they're staying with my office 5, 6, 7, 8, 10 years. Maybe they become career prosecutors. This is something that we're working on. And the third thing was, Madam Chair, you had a third question. Oh, transparency, the website. Look, if I can get facts and figures up on our website so everybody can see how we're doing and what we're doing, that better informs our community in making decisions, then I want to do that. So but we're working with the county offices to get that done.
All right. Mr. Mayo?
What is the Restorative Justice Bureau?
Restorative Justice. This is a bureau that's actually dedicated to try and keep people out of prison, which is almost counterintuitive in my office, but it's run by Renee Murgis, and Renee is, I think at this point, the longest tenured member of the DA's office. She's been with us since the 80s. Renee helps run drug court. She helps run mental health court, veterans court, all of our diversion programs. She helps oversee the Community Justice Outreach Center. So every case in my office is screened for diversion. Some screenings are very quick. Some screenings are no, but everybody gets run through the restorative justice process. Because if there's a way I can help people stay out of the criminal justice system, I'm gonna find that. And Renee is, if there was a book, Renee would have written it on how to get these things done. And so that's the Bureau. And it's, started with one person and now it's almost fully staffed.
Thank you.
Sure.
Okay, I just have one last question.
Yes, ma'am.
Did you, okay. Mr. Graham, did you have one?
Yes, I did.
Okay,
Thank
Ms.
you, Madam
Webb.
Chair. Your budget's up 16%. My ears perk up when I see that.
Yes, sir.
Although I'm all for crime fighting, that's for sure. I noticed, for example, I asked you about the Director of Communications position. 2 years ago, it was 76,000. Now it's 105,000. That's a big jump. The CAB board approved $45,000 a year for communication services, even though you have a Director of Communications for 105. When I look at the 16%, I think maybe you can start there, maybe to willow it down a little bit. That would be one of my priorities.
This morning I opened the paper and there's a long story about how the pendulum in Albany is starting to swing back. One of the big themes when we think about how to invest $400 million in our community is whether or not it's safe to do so, whether or not we're going to get people to come back downtown or live down here. And everybody's primary concern is public safety. So if there's a way I can communicate to everybody that, and I mean, look, I'll sit down with you, I'll show you the numbers that we have. I mean, it's mind-blowing how much better we're doing to keep our streets safe. And when I say we, I mean like everybody here in this room, the cops out on the streets. But we've got to communicate that message. Otherwise, we're telling our investors nothing. And Albany gets no better than it was without the $400 million, because what do we spend it on? So other DA's offices, Ray Tierney in Suffolk County, I think his communications firm's like 10 people. I have one. Now, the contract we signed, and obviously the contract is always up for renewal on an annual thing, but that contract has been invaluable, and my communications guy has been invaluable in helping us get out our message, and that we're actually making a difference on the streets. It's helped us lobby up on the Hill to get discovery reform done. I wish I could have a communication staff of 10 to focus on all the little different things. I get one guy, and he's doing the work of 10. So I understand, and certainly I've kind of anticipated this question, but I think communication is, especially in Albany, when there are a lot of people paying attention, not just, citizens of Albany, but for the entire state, I think the job that we are doing for our citizens needs to be talked about, communicated, and I'll pay for as many megaphones as I can get.
Well, let me just say, I've been a professional in communications for over 40 years.
How am I doing?
I understand the value of communication, but I also understand catching people, prosecuting, and getting them in jail.
Yep.
It's great that you have some social service programs, but your primary focus, I believe, is prosecution, catching people. You say Albany is safe. We had 3 shootings in 8 hours on the 4th of July, and people really don't believe Albany is a safe place. So we can go back and forth on the numbers, and those numbers, you can use numbers in a lot of different ways. But I think in terms of spending, and you've got a 16% increase, I'd like to see a greater focus on prosecuting criminals and putting them in jail.
So hold on, you point out one thing, you point out a communications guy. Most of my budget increase comes from me asking for more ADAs, right? Like line ADAs to help with local courts. That's where we're hurting right now. I need more men and women. I agree with you. Prosecuting people in court, that's where the budget increase comes from. It comes from making sure that the valuable people I have here with me stay. That's where the budget increase comes from. And frankly, most of the budget increase is paid for by state grants. So you want to focus on a comms guy, fine. But the money that's baked in here comes from hiring people to do the exact job you want done. That's the job I want done too. This is the place where I chose to raise my family. This is a place where I encourage people to come and raise their families. We had a kid start today, he came up from the Bronx. He moved here because he wants a better life for his wife and his new family. I'll take that any day of the week.
Okay, so on this, can you just say how many ADAs are assigned to local justice courts?
We counted 15.
Okay, all right. So, okay, all right. Can you please explain how you will be addressing your 2026 focus on local courts?
So let's take a place like Guilderland, which right now is staffed mainly by one ADA. It's 3 judges. It's a lot of work. Guilderland is this bunch of different things happening in Guilderland, right? You got the mall, you got half of the SUNY campus. I've never exactly figured out which half, but you've got the roadways and everything else. It needs more than that, right? We need to have a more efficient way of doing things. We need to have more ADAs out there. So what we've done is we've created the position of local court bureau chief. We've actually promoted somebody from in-house to do that. So he's going to help organize and work on those local courts, give just legal support and advice to those younger ADAs. We've hired, actually her name's Kathy Boland. She was with the DA's office, then she was with the Attorney General for 20 some odd years. She retired, now she works back for us. She has all the experience in the world. She's going to be in places like Cohoes and Guilderland and then offering help. So we're putting more experienced DAs on the front lines. Because as I said in our longer budget letter is, that is really where the cops work with the DAs and the courts work with the DAs, and that's frankly most people's experience when it comes to the criminal justice system. So we're just pushing out resources to make sure that stuff gets done out there, and always when the criminal justice starts to bend and break, it's when we don't have enough time, energy, and resources to prosecute a case effectively, and everything's just pled out to something less. I want to make sure we're catching those things in local courts and doing it the right way.
Okay. Hold on, I got it. I'm going to let Barrero ask the last question. And then I just want you to know, I know this is your first time in front of us, so this will be a different way in which you can get your message out as far as being our new district attorney. And so I want everybody to bear in mind that I felt like we owed him this to be able to, answer and discuss questions. So
And thank you. And Madam Chairman, just let me say, if anybody wants to come to the office, we just did a giant presentation on the retail crime allowance. If you guys want to come by, just let me know, and we'll give individual presentations to any one of you or a group of you. I know you guys can by for a tour, but we're always willing to do that and expand upon this presentation. Anyway, sorry.
Yes.
Go ahead.
Thank you very much, Madam Chairwoman. This is a small item on the budget, but I'm just wondering, is it more cost efficient to lease the photocopiers than just purchase it?
That's actually a good question, because I asked that same question when I got into.
We couldn't understand what you said.
He wants to know if it's more cost effective to lease these things rather than buy. So, I don't think we're the only county department to lease photocopiers. Yeah. Yeah, and I can tell you from private practice, it's easier to lease because then you can just get a new one because those things break. I mean, we all know these things, but I speak with no specialized experience in photocopiers. So.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you all. Thanks, Dave.
I'll leave that one for you here. So I know you use those a lot. 205? 205.
right.
All right. Our next presenter. Our next presenter is the sheriff, and page is 205 in your budget book. Okay. Sheriff?
Good evening, everyone. Thank you. Good evening, Madam Chair, members of the committee. I appreciate the opportunity before you tonight to discuss the Albany County Sheriff's Office budget. I'll start by saying that even with the negotiated raises factored in, our budget is still down just about 3.9% from adjusted 2025. On top of that, we also removed roughly $4.3 million to help the county make this budget work. We did our part to ease that burden, and while certainly tightening things up, we understand the challenges that come with balancing the county's overall finances. It's definitely a thin budget, but it's one I can work with. We've always found ways to make the most of what we have, and that won't change. We're continuing to move forward with some important projects. Construction of the kennel at the jail is underway, and our body-worn camera rollout is progressing as planned. Both are meaningful steps forward to accountability, transparency, and community impact. Now, with the exception of a couple of missed title changes and the removal of 5 deputies, the rest of the budget is in good shape. I do want to clarify what happened with those deputies. My intent was to fund only half a year for those positions at $422,000, but the deputies were removed altogether, and that money was shifted over to the border revenue increase. I'd like to revisit that, or at least have a conversation about realigning how those dollars are being used. Specifically, I'd like to realign some of the already proposed monies to create a dedicated line for second chance opportunities. Programs that give people who've been through our system a chance to work, rebuild their lives, and contribute positively to the community. We've seen how impactful that can be, and I think it fits right into the broader mission of public safety and rehabilitation. Again, I appreciate the committee's time and continued support. We'll keep working hard, keep working efficient, and keep finding ways to do more with less while serving the people of Albany County the best we can. I'd also like to introduce Tina Harris, who helped us compile this budget. She is the only budget analyst I have.
Okay, I have a question. And the first one being, are there any established staffing ratios for sheriff deputies to population served across Albany County?
I don't have a fixed ratio. I'm assuming we could do a staffing analysis. It's not similar to the Commission of Corrections. I could probably do something like that with a sister county, something similar to maybe Orange County.
Okay, and what's your department's annual average number of vacancies in the sheriff's deputies and correction officers line?
Correction officers, we run anywhere between 45 to 65 a year with the corrections. With deputies, it could vary from academies with deputy sheriffs only run every 6 months. So we may have 2 or 3 openings, slowly climb up to 10, but fill those 10, bless you, in June or July, fill those. So like right now, as I sit here, we have like 2 vacancies for deputy sheriffs.
Okay, so can you, the commission revenues at the jail are down $200,000 year over year. Can you tell us what's causing the decrease?
Which revenues, ma'am?
Commissions. Commissions
The
revenue.
commissary revenues?
Yes.
214.
No, they shouldn't be down at all. Actually, they should be high.
Page 214.
Is that the phone commission?
Yes.
The phones? So last year, we actually had a surge of commissions that we didn't expect. We lowered that. There's an FCC ruling that initially came out last year. Since President Trump came in, it was, I don't want to say reversed, but there was a stay put on it, which will eliminate all commissions in all correctional facilities nationwide. New York City currently pays for the inmate usage of the phones. Department of Corrections is looking at a similar model. We still get the commissions, and it averages almost, $1.5 to $2 million a year. It's a lot of money. It'll be a great impact to Albany County if they do away with the commissions.
All right, do we have other questions? I'm going to open this up to members of the Audit and Finance Committee. Mr. Jamalowitz.
Thank you, Madam Chairman. Sheriff, could you tell us about what the impact of a feasibility study on the jail, the maintenance of the jail, and what kind of impact that would have on the budget?
Well, it's hard to say. I mean, we had a walkthrough with 4 contractors. Their responses are due back on the 24th of October. That will give us a starting, I don't even want to say a foundation, but it will in fact give us a starting point of what to look for next. A couple of them have told us some of the ideas that we had are just not going to happen. I mean, it's gonna be a lot of money. I'm not going to lie to you. I mean, we could be talking, 20, 30, 40 million for some simple renovations and upward to a couple of $100 million for massive renovations.
Would it be feasible to tear it down and build a new one? Would that be better?
Well, I think without doing an in-depth study, the numbers were $500 to $650 million. Yeah. Listen, I think the jail it's very, very possible for some renovations. I think air conditioning is out the window, no pun intended. That's probably not going to happen in the older part of the jail. A couple of the contractors already said you might as well it's just a complete waste of money. The jail was not built for air conditioning. And that was one initial, idea that was thrown out, was scratch the air conditioning, focus on some other areas.
Thank you.
Do I have any questions for Mr. Grimm?
Thank you, Madam Chair. I'm trying to get a better handle, Sheriff, on state and federal revenue that comes your way. If the federal people pick up an illegal immigrant and they hold them in the jail, are you reimbursed while they're there, or how's that work? And
Yeah, so
state readies.
So it actually, we don't get like many immigrants. We get a lot of just federal prisoners. I think as of 4 o'clock this afternoon, I had 118 of them. That's kind of low. We like to try to keep it up to the 120s, 130s, 150s. We get $150 a day. We just renegotiated that with them for the first time in, my gosh, decades. It used to be 119, we now get 150. But, they could pull them tomorrow. We do fairly well with revenue for that. It generates, in the mid $6 millions for that for us.
You had alien assistance program. It used to be 34, then 52,000, now it's 0. Explain that.
Well, that will come out, it probably will be more like 25,000, but it's something that we don't count on. And a lot of these federal programs are slowly being scrapped. So last year we did okay with it. This year we're not anticipating anything, but we may get a call letter saying, we anticipate you getting 20,000 or 10,000. So we count on 0.
I just want to say, Sheriff, keep up the good work. You've been catching a lot of flack lately.
Yeah,
But you're one of the top
that's why we wear
sheriffs.
vests.
You're one of the top sheriffs in the state.
Thank you, I appreciate that.
Thank you, Madam.
Can I just ask a question? How many people was the jail designed to hold?
And the older part of the jail, I'm sure, is your focus, right? The east side and west side, the old brick part, right?
Let's start with the whole thing.
The whole thing, it's designed to hold 900.
Okay, 900. And so now go to the old and the new.
The old part of the jail was initially designed to hold 387. That was back when 1989, we started to do renovations up there, and we started to add on, which if you do an overview, it'll look like fingers coming out of the jail. We call those the buildings. Those are the newer parts. Each one of those is an additional 100.
So the old holds?
The old part of the jail initially was 387. Now that has changed a little bit over the years with some renovations that we did to do some dorm housing as opposed to linear cells, things like that.
And so the new part holds what?
Well, there's several different fingers there, but it would be, in theory, 500.
Okay, so now, all right, so out of the 900, how many are available to actually house inmates?
900.
You have 900,
All of our cells, we could house somebody in today if we had to. Is that what your question is?
yeah, that's my question.
Yeah, we have no units that are out of service.
Okay, so how many inmates are presently housed?
586.
586. And how many are from Albany County as opposed to whether it's from federal?
If you remove the federal borders, we have 468 like state prisoners, all right, which would be county prisoners. And of the 468, there's 293 Albany County residents incarcerated.
And so, now what was the 586 again?
586 is the total population as of today. Could change hourly.
Okay, and so out of that 586, 293 are Albany County.
Residents, actual residents, yes.
Okay.
So let me just make sure I'm clear with you, okay? Of the 586, I have 468 that are not boarders in any way, shape, or form. They were arrested right here in Albany County, but they could live in Schenectady or Rensselaer or wherever. Of the 468, 293 of them are actual Albany County residents.
Okay, so now, how many are federal, other?
About 118 of them.
So 118 are federal, okay? And then what about other counties?
I have, I think, 3 other county boarders right now.
3?
3.
3 people or 3 counties?
3 people. Probably from 3 different counties, yeah.
All right, so, now, you talked about the piece of it, before I go any further, who else has questions over here? Anybody else from the committee? Please.
Well, no.
I know, but nobody else, outside of you and Will, nobody else, go ahead.
Oh, yeah, well, just talking about the population, what's the highest population the jail has ever had?
Mid to high 9s.
Even though the total capacity is 900?
Yeah.
You've been over
Well, it
capacity?
was, at that time, actually, it was a little higher than that, but I've taken 100 cells offline for the homeless shelter. So prior to that, geez, during, I don't know, probably 10 years ago, we were around 900. And then bail reform started, and then quite honestly, my staff and I started to do a lot of restorative programs, innovative programs to keep people from coming back, and population started to dwindle.
Has the reduction of population, does that have any correlation to the, what I'll call like the quality of life of the inmates? Is there a, maybe that's not the right term, I'm sure it's not the right term from the chronology perspective, but like, is the experience of being in the jail, does it in any way change based upon the total population in the jail?
Not really. The only change, honestly, was bail reform. Bail reform stopped a lot of the programs that we did to change a lot of lives for the better. It stopped a lot of our addiction services, peer-to-peer counseling, veteran programs, things like that. And people say, well, you shouldn't have to go to jail to get better, right? But it's better than dying on the street and overdosing in the street. So I was very proud of those programs, and that was one of the biggest things why I was very unhappy with bail reform, because a lot of those folks that we were able to touch and to sit down and to counsel and to help them transition into better housing and a better way of life, we lost touch with. And instead, I think the next group probably dealt more with them, the coroner's office. So I don't think, besides that, nothing has really changed. We still try to do a lot of those programs, but we don't have the low-level offenders anymore, and our jail we have a lot of violence in there. Every county jail, every state facility are more violent now than they've ever been. So I guess that would be a life-changing moment for them in there
Because you have a higher percentage
of violence.
offenders.
Yes.
Thanks.
Okay, Mr. Joyce?
Thank you, Madam Chair. Two questions, I think. At the federal borders, are those ICE arrests, or what are they?
No, it could be anything. Bank robbers, whatever. They don't really tell us. That's part of the program. I mean, we know if there's an ICE arrest or something like that, but I don't deal with ICE. I deal with the Marshals Service. Everybody that comes in from us for the federal side or from the Marshals Service.
I remember a few years back, you did take them in, you
Yes.
provided them services through legal aid, so I appreciate that.
Yeah.
If they offered it again, maybe that'd be an opportunity.
Yeah, I don't have the cell capacity for it right now, but the state readies are getting back down to a normal level. For a while, we were hovering at 125 to 130 during the correction strike, and it took a long time for that to diminish. I still have, a little over a dozen or so in there, which is kind of a normal number.
Mr.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Sheriff, how do you decide who stays in the older section of the jail versus the newer section?
It's usually classification. So when you come in, you're screened. Could be 1 through 5, 1 being a worker, which very few would get an automatic worker status. Then there's 2s and 3s, and then your level 4s are your more violent, more propensity towards violence. You could be in there for a DWI and still be one violent, incarcerated person. And then your level 5s are sickly inmates, inmates that need more care, going to spend a lot of time down on the medical wing or assigned to the medical wing. So it depends. Usually your 3s and 4s end up in the old part of the jail where there's linear cells, less opportunity to shank somebody, smuggle drugs, hurt an officer, things of that nature.
Thank you.
Did you have a question, Mr. Katz?
Yes. I wanted to ask you a little bit about the drive-alongs in Albany, and if you had an idea of how much time you're investing in that, and if you're planning on continuing, and whatever else you might want to say about it.
Drive-alongs?
Ride-alongs.
Right.
So, I see your guys in the police cars in town.
I don't know. I think we've done maybe 4 or 5 of them, 3 or 4 of them. I don't really think we invest much time in them. Somebody, if a legislator calls or a resident calls, we'll take them for a couple hours, show them usually what we do, where we work out of, a little bit about the job, a little bit about the technology we have.
When you ride with the police, when you patrol on behalf of the city of Albany.
Same thing.
Same thing?
Yeah, I mean, it's usually a couple hours. People will come down, ride for a couple of hours, just kind of get a feel of what we're doing down here. Could be neighborhood association people, legislators, other elected, city council members. I think we've only done it like 3 or 4 times.
Maybe I'm asking the wrong question.
I think she's asked about your presence in the Albany city.
You're talking about the deputies patrolling?
Excuse me? I recognize Mr. McCaffis, okay?
I was talking about like when you post that you got a gun on a
Oh,
WI
all right. Hold different. Let's pivot. Let's pivot.
What do you call that?
How much, how much time?
How much time are you spending in Albany?
A lot.
That's why I was kind of like, wait.
Yeah, you had me a little twisted there. You know what, I mean, if you want actual man hours, you gotta give me a day, but, I mean, a lot. I mean, Lynn, we're down here every day, 2, 3, 4 cars, they're making arrests every day, they're doing search warrants every day, they're pulling guns and drugs, and, it's, I think we're making a huge dent, to be honest with you, I really do. I couldn't be more proud of them. I mean, they're working cases constantly. They're in here. Some of these guys come down on their days off because, they'll get kind of fixated on, I know this guy has got a gun on this corner. And now we're starting to have small stores, privately owned stores reach out and say, hey, I see what you guys are doing. Here's access to my cameras. Take my cameras and try to help us any way you can. So listen, if it wasn't for you folks in this room, I wouldn't be able to do it, but I can stand here in front of you and tell you that I think we're making one hell of a dent in this city, and we're taking a lot of guns off, we're taking violent criminals off, and we're also assisting all our federal and state and city partners with a lot of other cases.
Thank you.
there any more questions from any members?
Just one, is there any, I'm sorry.
I gotta do you.
Okay, sorry.
Go ahead.
Any fiscal impact on your office with the move to Culberson Roads that I don't see here? I don't see any big jumps here, is this being covered by?
No, it's not a lot of jumps. I'm gonna tell you, my staff mostly moved themselves. We painted our own offices. We emptied the offices with all the old furniture ourselves. You know, we had to hire the moving company to do the real big, heavy cabinets. It was a fraction of what the initial quote was because we did everything ourselves. We have one more big move, so to speak. That'll be the civil office. That's really all that's left is civil and business. Internal affairs, we're gonna move this week. Again, we'll do that ourselves. You know, it really hasn't been a big lift. You know, the building was cosmetically sound and I think structurally sound, so we didn't have to like put a lot of money in. St. Rose, sadly as it is, left a ton of furniture around the campus, so we were able to salvage some of that and use towards, you know, towards setting up offices. We had to do a couple fiber connections. As of tomorrow, we'll have our county computers and office phones back up. We've been down, that's been tough. It's been quiet, but it's been tough. So we're in. You know, we're starting to function we're getting ready for the next move in the back building.
Okay. All right, Ellen?
Yes, is your office reimbursed from the city for your service here in Washington?
No, it hasn't been for a lack of trying, but no, we have never. No.
Okay, thank you. All right, asked and answered, and I guess I want to say, you know, I got one last question for you.
Shoot.
I don't know if I heard you say this, but what is the timeline for the construction or the rehab of the jail facility?
So, Madam Chair, it's hard for me to answer that. The results of the feasibility, the request for the feasibility study is going to come back on 10/24. Now, I expect we'll have, you know, I think a couple contractors literally, you know, ran out of the state to get away from the project. But a few of them were very interested and had some ideas. And I don't know. I mean, we can be very aggressive with it and, you know, clean up some areas and change a few things. I have a couple ideas that I think we might be able to do with the linear housing and turn it into more dorm-style housing. But again, we can't do that with everything because we do have a very violent population. So that's a top priority for 2026. Rolling out the rest of our body-worn cameras is probably one step above that. I want to we're looking for an additional 102 cameras, and I don't honestly know if I can wait until the capital project is opened up. I may have to try to buy those with seizure money. It's about $400,000 for the 3 years. But I want to get those cameras in place up there.
But you will agree that we are in need of a new facility, completely rehab.
I don't know if you want to say a new facility, right? Just like a rehab or what?
Well, we can't go on with what we have. You will agree with that?
Well, I'll agree with some of that statement, all right? Listen, again, jails are not supposed to be country clubs. And as far as the air conditioning, personally, I'm not upset over the air conditioning. We do a lot to keep the inmates cool up there. We give them extra food and extra water as well, ice, fans, you name it. There's families all around the city and the county of Albany that can't afford air conditioning. So I'm not really like hell-bent on giving air conditioning to the county correctional facility. I certainly agree that we do need to get some welders in there, fix some bars, put some new paint in there, possibly some new windows. Maybe we can make it more efficient that way. I know somebody asked me earlier about geothermal or solar. I would love to add solar to that county jail. I think we could probably save hundreds of thousands of dollars. I don't know what the initial investment is for the solar projects, but I'd rather not put it on the roof. I'd rather put like carport solar out in the garage, in the lots, and I think we could generate a lot.
Okay, so the old part of the jail, you don't think that something really needs to happen with that?
Well, that's a very broad question. right? So I'm thinking, yeah, we can clean it up, I said that. I don't think air conditioning is the answer, that's just a quick Band-Aid. I think what you need in there is we can look at cleaning up the shower area and maybe the cells area. But there's also a lot of personal accountability that comes in when you are in fact an inmate. And part of it is you're responsible for your cell. You're responsible for your outer area and you're responsible for cleaning that area. And when they come in and they don't clean, I'm certainly not gonna have correction officers down cleaning. So, but again, there's no punitive functions anymore in corrections. So they can throw feces at the CO and say, I'm not gonna clean, and that's the end of it.
Okay, so this is me and you talking, okay, in front of everybody.
Me and you and the rest of the county.
You're on camera. Having gone through there, okay, and the difference between the new part and the old part, and what I saw coming down from the ceiling, what has that got to have to do with the inmates having something to do with what we saw coming down the ceiling and also on the floor outside of the cells? Also, in comparison to the room that the people had in that old part as compared to the new part where they actually had a common area that was outside of the cells that they were in. That place is not, I've seen people who I believe take care of their pets better than what looked like in that area of the jail.
Well, what you're talking about is apples and oranges, right? You're talking about new housing versus old housing. Old housing is Alcatraz. Alcatraz is linear housing. You come in, you go down 25 on each side, you have a 4-foot catwalk, and then outside that you have a 4-foot area for the officer to make his rounds so he's protected and they can't get to him or her, right? The new style is more dormitory style. Officer sits in there with 50, officer sits in here with 50. There's 2 men or women in a group that watches all of them. So are some areas new and some areas old? Absolutely. What you're talking about is rust coming down. You're talking about a 1930 facility. So does it need repairs? Every day, all day, anywhere and everywhere we can find something to repair in there. Now the question is, does the county legislature really want to tear down the old county jail and build a new one? That's up to you folks to decide. But I can tell you we're well over $500 million looking at it. But there's a lot more that's going to go into that. It would be probably a couple of years of planning as far as, all right, first of all, we got to get rid of the federal inmates for a while, right? Which we're going to lose probably 6 or 7 million a year on that. We're going to have to house inmates in different places. I have an idea that we wanted to sit down, once these requests come back for the feasibility study, I'd like to sit down with them and talk to them about, what if we just start on the east side in 2026 and 7 and maybe 8 and gut them out and see if we can make that more of an open housing. The problem one issue that you have in the east and the west side, and for those of you who aren't familiar, if you can envision an H and then close off the top and bottom of the H, that's kind of the county jail, old county jail. So one of the other issues that you're going to run into is there's a hollow cavern that runs from the basement right to the ceiling in there, and there's catwalks in there. Now, a lot of that was so it could move air throughout the jail, move it out from the bottom and out the top. And officers would walk back and through there, and you could peek through a small window. There was called the T1 room, and you could look through there to see if they had contraband or whatever, or were they sleeping, whatever. So that's going to be a hindrance unless they can come up with a way to cover that off on each tier as well. So there's a lot of technology. There's a lot of capable minds out there as far as architects. So I guess we just got to wait to sit down and talk to them and see, listen, what can we do? Can we gut this out? Do we have to tear it down? Do we do one wing at a time? Do we do one floor at a time?
Okay, I just want to say that to say that those people, or try to compare the inmates as to how people are living on the outside, unless you can see how those people are living on the inside, that's a hard thing to place, and that's a difficult comparison. And it's totally
Yeah.
not the same at all. And I have to say that because of all of the controversy that has come out of that. I would be remiss if I did not bring it up tonight. I would be remiss, okay? And that's why I'm bringing it up, because it is necessary. And so you're saying that you don't know if it's going to be a year or 2 years, but you do say you have a feasibility study, and that will determine.
We have, in a couple of days, we have the results coming back for them to get in there and do a deep dive. That's what needs to be done. Taking a bunch of contractors for a tour is not going to show anything other than, all right, well, I got some ideas for this. But unless you get into the weeds, you know, they don't know what that structure's like. I mean, the place is probably built to take a torpedo, but until they get in there and really do a deep dive, we're all just speculating, you know, but, you know, we're moving forward with it.
We're moving forward, and hopefully the feasibility study will give us a better picture on what type of construction
Yes.
or
Yeah.
rehabilitation is
To
going to
talk
take
dollars,
place.
we're totally guessing.
Okay, October 24th. All right. Are there any other questions?
Sheriff, did we budget for that feasibility study?
Did we budget for the study? We don't know how much it's gonna be. I mean, I have some monies and lines that I can shift towards it, but I'm totally, you know, that's why we're waiting for everything to come back.
But you have funds available?
Yes.
to cover it.
Yeah.
Thank you.
And I'm sure that the Madam Chair will get me some funds too.
Can I ask one more question? Okay, I think, okay, you got 3 minutes.
Just one quick question. If we were to, let's say, plan ahead, let's say 2050, and we decide we want to build a whole new structure to replace that old section, do we have enough land for that in that jail facility? We don't have enough
No,
land?
not there at all, no. No.
That's,
The airport, you know, the airport has taken some at the end of the runway. I mean, maybe if they, I don't even want to guess and say that they could go up another level, because again, we're at the runway, so we got to be very careful with heights. But in the current place, probably not, no.
can you think of anywhere else in Albany County where we can build
I
something?
think the county has a lot of land around. I mean, listen, I was never a big fan of having a county jail next to an airport. It just, you kind of take the hand that you're dealt, but, or a nursing home. But, because they used to get out of jail and go to the nursing home and, you know, they'd be walking around the halls. So I don't know what lands we have throughout the county, but I think that land probably could be repurposed for something better than that. Yeah.
Thank you.
All right, I appreciate your, you have somebody? Oh, I'm sorry, you can't hear me. I appreciate your coming before us tonight. I appreciate you answering the questions that have been put in front of you. And we're looking forward to that feasibility study, and so thank you for your presentation tonight.
You got it. Thank you.
Okay, I need some water. I just need a few minutes.
7 mini strips?
Comptroller in front of us right now. And the pages in the budget book begin with page 181. I will ask Ms. Rizzo to please introduce the rest of your people that you brought with you. And remember, as they talk, please move the microphone so everyone can hear you. Can everyone hear me? Okay, very good.
Good evening, Madam Chair, members of the Audit and Finance Committee. I'm Susan Rizzo, Albany County Comptroller, and I'm joined tonight by my Executive Deputy Controllers, Chip Dott and Frank Camiso Jr. Thank you for the opportunity to present the Department of Audit and Control's 2026 budget proposal. First, however, I am proud to share specifically with this committee that the Albany County's credit rating has been increased by Moody's Investors Services from AA3 to AA2, only 2 notches away from Moody's highest credit rating of AAA. The upgrade by Moody comes less than 3 months after the announcement by S&P Global that it had improved the county's credit outlook from AA stable to AA positive. Moody's cited several factors for the upgrade, including Albany County's economic strength, strong financial operations, and pay-as-you-go financing of capital projects. In addition, the county's long-term debt has been reduced by over 44% since 2020. This upgrade was only possible because of the work of this committee, and I would like to thank all of you for your continued efforts on behalf of Albany County. This upgrade makes Albany County a more attractive investment option and will now enjoy a reduced interest rate when we borrow. My office will continue to work closely with management and budget and the departments to be sure that when Albany County borrows, we are borrowing for spent funds only. I'd like to point out, even though our unrestricted fund balance has gone up from $35 million to $143 million, which is over 15% of general fund appropriations, other municipalities have even greater percentage in their fund balance policies. Because of this and the potential shifting of costs from federal government to states and local governments, I recommend that this committee, along with the guidance from management and budget, review the fund balance policy as a recommended percentage may need to be increased. This has also been brought up by the rating agencies. Next, in regard to 2026 proposed budget, I would like to address the Department of Audit and Control's request to add legal fees to my budget. This is needed to address instances where legal clarification is needed regarding the duties and responsibilities of the Comptroller. More precisely, this includes the audit function and our read-only access to payroll records, both of which have been restricted during 2025. The proposed budget column did not include this funding. I respectfully request that the legislator provide the necessary funding for legal services, which will achieve consistency with other offices led by separately elected officials. All other aspects of the Department of Audit Control 2026 request budget provides appropriate levels of funding so that we can effectively achieve our mission and the objectives of retaining and further development in essential staff. I'm asking for your support of my proposed budget and appreciate the opportunity to answer any questions you may have. Thank you.
Do we have any questions from the members of the Audit and Finance Committee? Go ahead.
Okay. Yeah, I want to get more into this legal piece, Mr. Controller. It seems to me, I mean, the county executive has a county attorney, but also has a counsel to the county executive. The sheriff has a counsel. It's surprising that the controller doesn't have her own counsel, especially since you have brought in $17 million in investments. So you'd be a little more specific on what exactly you would do with that $140,000.
I put it in as a fee for service. I did not put it in as a salary, so there are no benefits added to that $140,000. The other legal fees for the other elected positions are $143,000, $140,000, $134,000 as positions for attorneys, except for the minority, which is a part-time job for $70,000. I want to be able to hire an attorney if I have a question about an issue when I need to review the charter, or if I have a clarification. Right now I have a clarification with Tyler versus Hallopin. I have another request for financial disclosures. I believe that the Audit and Finance, or the Audit Department needs to review the financial disclosure forms. I've received a lot of pushback, and I think I need legal review to articulate the needs of my office.
Well, wouldn't you be the county controller? The role is to be like the watchdog over, that's what the controller does.
I agree.
How can you do that without having legal help?
I can't.
Thank you. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you very much. Mr. Demolowitz.
Thank you, ma'am. Explain the increases in the deputy controllers.
In the what?
reason for that. The increases in the deputy controllers.
Oh, the deputy controllers. Yes. We did an analysis regarding salaries, and just to give you some feedback about my office, I recently lost my chief accountant. My chief accountant is the most important job for our financial reporting, and he went to the city of Troy for $20,000 more. That was a difficult position to fill, but I was able to fill that position, and I'm very concerned about my office and making sure that I have the right salaries. Somebody's phone's ringing.
I apologize.
That I believe that my office needs to have the right salaries that are commensurate too with the rest of Albany County. When I had my budget review, this is the first year I did not have the county exec, because I know a lot of things are going on. He wasn't able to talk to me about my budget, so I wasn't able to explain it further. But I was told that we don't monitor, and we don't have a lot of employees. Like the sheriff has deputies, and he has a lot of employees. We manage 55,000 invoices a year. We are involved with every single department within Albany County. We do a lot of favors for a lot of departments. And for my guys not to be able to get salaries that are commensurate with other positions, as a CFO, people are now making more than I do in finance, which I don't disagree. People should make more, but I am the CFO, and I do think my deputies deserve this salary increase.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Ray?
Thank you. Could you clarify restricted records, and does it impact your ability to perform audits?
Yes. So I am an auditor, an internal auditor. It has been explained to me that the job that I do as an internal auditor is the same as an external auditor. No, it's not. Internal audit is a boots on the ground. We get involved with the data. We do statistical analysis. By not having information that we can look at, and so basically what I got after 6 years is a window of, it was originally 3 days for them to open up the Chronos, for us to look at 300 and some records, but they said, oh, we'll give you a week, and then they shut it down. So we have to look at all these records and do our analysis. If you recall, there was a time and attendance audit in 2020, and we were very specific in the HR manual as well as the legislation of what was supposed to be done, and it's not being done. So I was told that I was fishing. It's not fishing. I get whistleblowers, I get people that address concerns, and this is taxpayer money. So I don't feel that taking away Chronos was a correct means, according to the charter, for the auditor to have to look at financials in all respects. I have to approve payroll, and yet I can't look at Chronos.
Okay, thank you. Are there any other questions? Yes, Ms. Ailes.
Back to the legal services. How do you get legal services now? Do you have?
So I was told, and I think you all got this memo, that the legal services for me and the other departments, I am an elected official, that I can use the county attorney. And I said, well, there's a conflict of interest. And they said, well, you can use another attorney within the county attorney.
I have a couple questions.
All right. Yes, Mr. Ricard.
Did everybody on the committee ask questions? Because I'm not on the committee.
Yeah, I'm calling your name now.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I want to drill down on the legal fees too. So In the past, has Albany County ever used legal fees separate, the comptroller, I should say?
The previous controller, who I am not, used legal fees outside of Albany County attorney.
Do you have any idea how much,
Mr. Ricard,
do you have any idea how much that allocation was? Can you hear that?
I'm not sure if it was $200,000, $300,000.
Okay, and you're asking for 140,000?
Correct.
Okay. So you believe it's a conflict of interest for the county attorney to give you legal advice on various...
Because I've had there's a conflict, and I've gotten letters that have words like, for your education, I don't have inherent subpoena power. I found out that everybody can subpoena. I didn't realize inherent subpoena power. I wasn't asking for a subpoena, but there's no authority in the charter. These are comments that were sent to me that I'm incorrect. I still have concerns. It is unacceptable and unprofessional to accuse and defame public servants trying to do their job. That's not legal representation.
okay.
One more question, though?
Yeah, but this is not part of the budget. So I'm just letting you know, so before you get so deep into this.
Well, she's asking for $140,000, so wouldn't that make it part of the budget?
But she answered the question, so I'm gonna give you
Well,
another minute.
this question will go right to that question.
I'm gonna give you another minute.
Okay, thank you. So, any other counties in the region, do they get money in their budget for council?
Other controllers?
Yeah, Rensselaer County, Saratoga
Ulster County. Oh, locally, I'd have to confirm. I usually look at like Orange County, Ulster County, but off the top of my head, I know that other controllers do have legal assistance.
Thank you, Chair.
Good.
Will
Ms.
you be-
Gillespie.
Will you be going out to bid for legal services? Do you already have?
So I requested that of the county attorney, that I wanted to address an RFP like they did for their attorneys. So basically, they picked several attorneys depending on the subject matter, and they went through CAB, and they basically got approvals for like 10 different attorneys to use depending on the subject matter.
Okay, asked and answered on this question right here. Are there any other questions from any members of the committee, of the legislature? Thank you.
Thank you very much. So do I.
Thank you.
I hope you do
Thank you for asking.
Good night.
Nice to see you.
Hi.
Okay, we have now in front of us the coroners, and let's see, the information in the budget book is found on page 189.
I know.
You may begin.
I'm ready. Well, thank you, Madam Chairman. Thank you, members of the Finance Committee, for having us here this evening. I'm just going to try to be brief. I just wanted to give you guys a rundown of some of the things that I'm proud that we've accomplished over the past few years. Number one, along with my local assemblyman and a co-coroner of mine from the western part of the state, we were able to get legislation passed that required all coroners to meet a minimum 8-hour training session. But we didn't think that was enough. So this past year, we are now trying to get legislation, which it actually has been signed or passed by the Assembly and the Senate, and it's now on the governor's desk, waiting to be signed, which would require all coroners to have continuing education. I believe it's going to be over 30 hours every 2 years. So we're trying to bring the coroner system throughout the state up to speed. Also, we're going to be starting next month with something called the MDI Log, which is a program that was funded by the Opioid Task Force, which will put all the coroners all of our doctors, our staff, and even the morgue personnel, all on the same page, recording all our data, opioid deaths, suicides, any other kind of deaths, and so that all can be coordinated. We can all look at it, and it's bringing our office up to speed. Also here with me this evening is another one of our coroners, Coroner Kevin Crozier. I hope that you guys will consider the budget that we've proposed. If you have any questions, I'll be glad to answer them.
Do you have any questions from any members of the committee? Mr. Demolowitz.
Thank you. Could you explain the increases in fees for services?
Those are fees that we pay local funeral homes to transport bodies from the scene to the Ellis Hospital.
But it's a $40,000 increase?
Yes. We
So
are
you raised
paying.
your price, or a lot of people dying?
Well, you have the numbers of all the people that are dying. We're transporting a lot of bodies. It's not the numbers that are the problem, it's what we pay. Other counties are paying way more. Schenectady County has been paying their removal people over $400 for 10 or 15 years. We're paying $300. It's hard for us to get people to come out in the middle of the night under all kinds of adverse situations. I don't want to get into details, but some of the cases that we are involved in they're horrendous.
And the increase in conferences and tuition?
That's only, part of that is, we're trying to get all the coroners to attend these conferences twice a year. And the only way that they're going to become certified is to attend these conferences and to become what we call board certified medical legal death investigators. There's also something called the Coroner 101, which the new coroners have to take.
So with automobile parts and supply, do you guys have cars, or
We
you're
do this.
looking to get a new one or another one?
We have 2 cars, this is the first year that we had cars. 2 of our coroners currently have cars. I decided I did not want or need one. One of our guys needed a car, so Kevin has a car. He lives out in the hill towns, so he's got a long way to drive on a lot of cases. I own a funeral home, so I have a car that's equipped to do that kind of thing, so I use my own vehicle.
So this would be another vehicle for one of the...
We have 2, and we're not planning to get any more at this
No,
point.
I think that's
What's the
maintenance.
$25,000 for?
That's maintenance.
Maintenance?
Maintenance, tires, fuel, stuff like that.
On 2 vehicles?
We had a bit of a, I don't know if that's included in there, we had.
No, that was the insurance.
Okay, that was covered.
Yeah.
$25,000 for maintenance on 2 vehicles?
Yep, doesn't take much. I just hit a deer the other day with my brand-new vehicle. It was $14,000.
Brand new vehicle should be on warranty.
Yeah.
Not on a-
That's not on a deer.
Okay, thank you.
We also.
I wish it was.
I don't know, I just spent $20,000 on mine, in accidents. Anyway, I didn't spend it, this cost of parts. Anyway.
Oh, my God, it's
Thank you.
unbelievable.
Are there any other questions?
I have a question.
Mr. Epicuro?
Thank you, Madam Chair. Do you have a staff in your office that picks up the phone when people call, or do you do all that yourself?
We have staff during normal working hours that pick up the phone call, from 9 to 5 or 8 to 4. And when no one's there, all the local police agencies, the hospitals, the doctors, they all have our personal numbers, our cell phones. So yeah, someone can be reached 24/7.
On the weekends, when we start our rotation, like this weekend I'm on, I start at 5 p.m. on Friday night, but I don't get off. I'm the only coroner on from Friday night at 5 p.m. till Monday night at 5 p.m. And during that time, from Friday night till Monday morning, the phones in the office roll over to the coroner that's on for the weekend. So yeah, there is somebody that answers those phones on the weekend.
The only time the phone wouldn't be answered in the office is weekdays after 5 o'clock.
Do you have an average time of when you return people's calls?
We do it right away.
When I get a call, I return right away.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay. Yes, Mrs. Rosano?
Last year, There were some comments made about bills not being paid on time, and I'm wondering if that situation has been corrected?
It has.
It has, and I want to thank our controller, Susan Rizzo, for helping with that.
Yeah,
She was instrumental, and so now we can get our indigent people quickly buried.
It was taking 2, 3, 4 months sometimes for them to even respond, and now, again, thanks to Sue.
Thanks to Sue.
It's unbelievable, the turnaround time now.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. That's a good question.
Okay, use the mics. Do you have your hand up, Ms. Gillespie? Okay.
Let me recognize, I can ask.
Yes.
I can ask, okay. So you had mentioned a certification program for the coroners, and you want to make the position a little bit more professional. Are there going to be any courses that cover, like, customer service-related issues, like, dealing with grieving families, dealing with families who've had a loved one die under suspicious circumstances? That's the first part of my question. The second part of my question involves, so someone wanting to be a coroner, what skill set do you see people coming in the door with?
Most of them are either police, retired fire, paramedics, or funeral directors. And as far as the NISACME, which is the organization which I happen to serve on the board, yeah, we cover all kinds of areas like that, from grieving families to anything pertaining to death or counseling, or even, I can't think of the word, but when post-traumatic stress on the coroners themselves. I was at one, just not the past one, the one before that, which I guess we don't really understand that's happening to us, but it is happening to a lot of us.
And you mentioned the cost of removal, so do you have several area funeral homes that you work with, or just?
We do, but very limited, and we wanted to raise up to 400 because, like I said, Schenectady County has been paying their guys 400 for 10 years.
Okay. Yes.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Just a quick question. What's your experience and feedback about opioid deaths?
Well, the only thing I can say on the positive note anyway, on opioid deaths, they've been coming down. Our numbers are decreasing.
Any reason you could guess as to why?
It's either there's not as much of the stuff out there for them to get a hold of. That's the only thing I can think of, really. It seems when we get an opioid death, they come in a rash. We'll have a whole bunch of them right in a row. And I've had a number of times when I'll go to a scene, there'll be 2 people in the same house at the same time, both deceased.
All right. Thank you. I just have, are there any other questions? Because I just have one last question. Okay, good. Please discuss the new electronic case management system.
That's the MDI. We're starting that November 1st. And again, it's going to give all of us, we're in the learning process right now. We were trained last week, and again, we're going to start that November 1st. We have the MDI log, and it's going to be a system where we're all going to go in, and it's very complex compared to the stats that we're keeping now, or the information that we're keeping now. It's like 10%. We're keeping like 10% of what we're going to be keeping. And it's very involved, and it's going to be a lot of work for us, but I think it's going to be a good thing where we can all keep track of each other. Outside folks, they're not going to be able to get into that system, but other state agencies will be able to get in and see exactly what we're doing.
Allows us to keep much more detailed notes on every case, and every case also gets photographs. So when we go to a call, we actually photograph the scene, so the decedent, the scene, what medicines were there, just medical histories, just a lot of things that go into the death investigation can be added into this, which is critical. And right now, all my death scenes are on my phone. I don't really want that. I want to be able to download them into that computer system so they come up with every file. So that if there's ever a case or something that comes up, that case comes up, it's all detailed right there, along with the scene photos.
This MDI log is something that other big areas are already using them, and everybody that I talk to likes it, but it's going to be a lot more input on our part to put all this information in.
All right, thank you. Thank you very much. Yes?
That new MDI system, does it talk to EDRS? Or are you pulling data from EDRS?
No, it's two separate systems.
Two separate, okay.
I wish it was.
Because that would make it a lot easier, and you wouldn't have data entry errors.
Yep.
Okay. Okay, no other questions? All right, thank you very much for your presentation, and,
Thank you for having us.
thank you.
I apologize for my cell phone ringing. As we know, smartphones are only as smart as their operators.
All right, so let's hold on for a moment.
Thank you very much.
And, excuse me, okay. In your budget book, page 1, Board of Elections starts on page 185. And so we have in front of us,
Allison McLean Lane, Democratic Commissioner, Board of Elections.
Rachel Bleddy, Republican Commissioner.
all right.
Overall, we are confident that our proposed budget will meet the needs of our department as long as we are able to supplement the purchase of additional election equipment through the capital plan in the upcoming year, and that the requested staffing changes are made. Significant budgetary changes made are largely associated with the biggest election forum we now face, the implementation of the even year law, which was just upheld by the Court of Appeals. Under this new law, we anticipate longer and multiple ballot elections, along with a learning curve for employees, inspectors, and voters. This means we need to invest in additional ballot-on-demand systems, approximately 60, provide more comprehensive inspector training, and investment in staff retention. We have prepared for this by adding to our marketing and print advertising budget lines to ensure we can educate the public and the candidates about the change. We are currently drafting a spreadsheet of all the elective offices in Albany County that are affected by this new law, and letters will be sent to candidates and electeds alike to ensure they have a clear understanding of how this will affect their terms of office. Looking more closely at our budget from 2025 to 2026, there has been approximately $250,000 increase in contractual expenses, mostly attributed to the purchase of new election equipment, including the purchase of additional iPads and ancillary equipment to help facilitate the modernization of our office. For example, we had to upgrade our existing iPads and purchase additional pads, which comes with a much more expensive Verizon monthly cost. It went from $5 a month to $20. Poll pads face end of life in 6 to 7 years. We purchased the current poll pads in 2019. This is the end of equipment certification by New York State Board of Elections and the end of life for iOS updates. We have also utilized some of our New York State Board of Elections grant to supplement this hardware purchase. We have a couple questions that we were provided that that were provided by legislators. Would you like me to address them now?
Okay, let me ask this question. Are you presenting, Ms. Bleddy?
She's speaking on our behalf, but I can certainly answer any questions.
Okay, all right, thank you.
Yeah.
I just wanted to make sure that I gave due diligence to both sides.
Yes, I feel like you've heard enough from me, and you're done with me, and this is her, her first budget,
Yeah.
so she has taken the opportunity to do this.
Would you like me to address those questions that we were provided by legislators?
Okay, let me see how many that is.
2.
All right, go ahead.
Legislator Alex asked specifically regarding the 2 new positions that we have requested. This is an internet technology position. We're required by New York State to have it. We currently do not have one. What we have at Board of Elections, it's called a segmented network. So all of our it's not a county system. All of our voter data, ballot scans, our election building, our ballot building, they're all maintained there. The voter profiles of, almost 220,000 voters and their personally identifying information is contained on that network. And we currently do not have a trained person there. We did get permission from New York State Board of Elections to use some of our cybersecurity grant money we have left over to train. I'm going to train someone in-house and promote them into that position. On average, this type of position, when you're coming out with these certifications, that goes between about $90,000 and $120,000 a year. But we have budgeted $85,000 for each, and I'm very appreciative to the county executive for putting it into the budget. We have also eliminated 2 part-time laborer positions. We are going to concentrate on focusing on the single full-time laborer, and we do have a temporary staffing budget, but we would like to push that money into salaries of some of our more lower-paid employees. I have recently hired 3 individuals who are absolutely excellent. One went to Cornell, one went to Drexel, and another, what's the other one? Oh, 3 tremendous colleges, and I really need to retain them because there have not been raises. There have been COLAs into Board of Elections, but there's never been raises. There's been one, and that was several years ago for our administrator role. So we talked about the life expectancy of the poll books. I answered that for you. Susan LaRilliard also had a question. Currently, the employees who did not receive overtime and/or compensatory time are the commissioners and the deputy commissioners. Depending on the election cycle, we work anywhere from 18 to 21 days in a row, depending on the primary and, of course, the general election. And up to 16 hours a day. I can tell you I was practically speaking in tongues at the end of this last primary election. We do have the 2 positions that we have requested have been put into the budget. You will see that they have put them under a voting technology specialist line. I was also asked about our outreach, our community outreach and registration. Our staff works annually with the League of Women Voters and visited 5 schools so far this year. We registered 371 students. We also do registration at senior centers and nursing homes. We start our nursing home absentee process, but we also register while we're there as well for any new residents who are not registered to vote and want to. I've also been working with the Urban League, the NAACP, and the New York State League of Women Voters Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion Task Force to create an annual program starting with Golden Day, which is the first day of early voting, and to advance voter registration and facilitate voting starting with the lowest turnout areas within the city of Albany. With the recent Court of Appeals decision upholding even your voting, I am reticent, though, to attach a dollar amount to it because we understand that there will be significant costs associated with even your voting. However, the ideal situation would have a single title dedicated to specifically that.
Okay, so those were the questions that were put forward early on for them to answer. So are there any other questions from any, okay, Mr. Demolowitz?
Commissioner, can you tell us the search for a new larger Board of Elections building?
We have actively been looking for a new location. We're at 17,000 square feet currently, and we had a study done that was turned in a couple of years ago, correct?
Yeah.
That put us at needing 33,000 square feet. We have, of course, additional AutoMark machines coming in. Our current AutoMark machines will probably be decertified very soon, and they are certifying a new, that's the universal access machine. And obviously, we have no place to put them. We also have no place to put our new ballot on demand machines, and we have run out of space. Unless we're going to start piling things in the janitor's closet, I'm not quite sure what we're going to do. There are 2 locations that are under consideration. I know how I feel about the one of them, very positively, but I am not the one to make that decision. That is up, of course, to the county executive's office and the legislature.
Any other questions? Yes, Mr. Grimm.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Did I hear you right? You said the voting technology specialist was a state mandated position?
If you look in our rules and regulations, under cybersecurity, it's 6220 in the election handbook.
But did it's not, does the state give you the money for it?
No.
So it's just another state mandate?
Yeah. Well, we have serious technical needs. You know, with the evolution of elections in New York State, especially since 2019, we have these programs, that we're using now, you know, to program our machines and our ballots that are very technical, require high technical expertise, require someone with a background and degree in computer science and coding and everything else that comes along with that. And we can't mess around anymore. You know, I've been doing a lot of it, other people have been doing a lot of it, but unfortunately it takes away from other aspects of work that we need to get done. And so the reality is that with the growing needs that we face with respect to cybersecurity issues and state mandates with respect to the need to address putting in some sort of protection in our system against cybersecurity attacks, which, by the way, we've seen locally is a very serious issue, even affecting a local school district more recently. So we need to take steps to hire someone who has the background and experience and the technical expertise to be able to work in conjunction with our IT department to learn these programs, implement some of the cybersecurity needs that we have, and be able to do it effectively. It's very important. We're a large county, and we can't mess around with it anymore.
I was actually in discussion with New York State Board of Elections. They have a cybersecurity, basically, department there, and somebody runs it. His name is Ben Spear, and he told me exactly the training that our people needed. He gave me the courses. It's a 4-month certification course. I think I am going to promote from within because somebody has been working out very well and is already building our ballots for us. We were in a little bit of a pickle prior to the June election, where we really did not have someone to be able to build a ballot, and I'm very pleased that he learned. He did a great job. Also, Rachel has, of course, a good person too, but it was an uphill battle. And so elections have expanded since 2018 in both technology, scope, you name it. We have not added any positions. And it's come to the point, Rachel is correct, we can't mess around, and we do need to have, a lot of people in our office are doing dual roles right now. So we're trying to, of course, professionalize the office a little bit more.
You mentioned that there was a 4-month certification training. What's the cost of that? And then are you going to have people sign that they're not going to leave within 2 years after you invest in the training?
I would have to talk to HR about that. Now, the training itself, it's 4 months. They can do it in the office. It's an on-demand, course, and it's being paid for with our cybersecurity grant money. I got permission from the state to do so. I believe it's about $4,000, but we will be using the state grant money. We have to use it up anyway. But in addition, it will provide the certification that they need. And also, I like the fact that I'm utilizing someone from within who's already been kind of doing this, but is obviously vastly underpaid for it.
Okay, thank you very much. Ms. Rosano.
Hello, ladies. I was just wondering, how many inspectors do you have in the county? And are you in need of inspectors, or are every position filled?
Well, we're always in need of inspectors. We train approximately 1,000 inspectors every single year. They have to have a training every year before they serve. But of course, the number fluctuates dependent upon the election. If it's a presidential, we are definitely in need.
I'd say with the even year bill too, it's going to require us to add additional election coordinators and people who are well-versed on the issues, and to be able to assist voters at the polling place, because we are potentially, and I think we are, going to a multi-ballot system. Multiple ballots. A voter goes to vote, and because there's so many races on the ballot, you're going to have multiple ballots to have to vote. So this is the complication we face in our investments and why we structured our budget the way we did. We have to make major investments. We cannot not use ballot-on-demand systems anymore when you have a multi-ballot system. So every location, whereas in the past we could get away with not using one because it was a single election district, now we have to put ballot-on-demand systems in all the polling places to be able to print multiple ballots for each voter.
For example, this year we had there were 2 town board races, and it fills the entire ballot. When we have multiple other races also on that ballot, we are definitely going to be looking at least 2 ballots.
Mr. Demowitz.
Thank you, Madam. Could you tell us if there was any increase in the voter turnout with the new expanded early voting? Do you see any more higher numbers, lower numbers?
Well, we have many more people registered to vote now. We're now at about 212,000. So we are seeing increases in that. It's not necessarily during early voting. I think early vote by mail has become very popular. We had one race that was almost completely run on early vote by mail. But of course, it adds to the amount of stress on the office. That's a very technical thing that you have to do when you are the absentee ballot specialist. It's very technical.
But overall, there's no dramatic change in early voting?
I would say, obviously, the turnout varies from year to year. Obviously, when you have presidential or gubernatorial elections, you have a higher turnout. But no, we are unfortunately not seeing the turnout I think that was expected. And frankly, when I review the actual voters who are coming to early voting, they're the same voters that traditionally always voted. So, it's an issue of convenience more than anything else.
The unfortunate part about early voting is that it is an incredible amount of work to be undertaken by our staff and our poll workers, and you're on duty for such a lengthy period of time. But it hasn't, for upstate New York, I mean, we had a conservative party primary, for example, in Colony, and there would be one voter that would show up, or maybe 2. And
That's a poor example.
I know, I realize that, but early voting hasn't really increased the turnout. I can confirm that what my counterpart is saying is correct.
Yeah, I mean, and those third-party lines, they don't know. It's Democrat, Republican. Are they coming out to vote early?
We did have a good amount of people show up early in the Albany primary, specifically to St. Sophia's. That was our most popular poll site. We almost lost them this year, and I made a personal visit. I practically was on my knees begging not to lose it because it's a great poll site location.
Well, we appreciate St. Sophie's because
Yes.
I've been advocating for years that we have no place to vote early uptown Albany. And, that's where the votes are.
Yes.
That's proven. Thank you.
Absolutely.
Yes, Ms. Potts.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Just a quick question. Would you mind addressing the increase in fees for printing and advertising and fees for services?
Oh, absolutely. We anticipate that there will be a voter education piece necessary when we come to the even year voting, and we are going to do a mailer to every voter in the county about it. And also, we do print ads and things in the newspaper. So we want to make sure that when this begins, there is no confusion for the voter. We want them to have the education piece beforehand so that this transition is smooth. Do I anticipate there will be challenges? Absolutely, but the voter education piece is very important, and the candidate education piece. We'll be sending a letter to every single candidate to let them know about their terms, just as I mentioned before, but we do have to pay for those mailings.
Yes, Ms. McLaughlin. I just want to clarify, when does the even year voting start? You can ask them. The even year voting.
So I believe if we're talking county legislators, you run next to 27, you will have a shortened term by 1 year, and then your next time to run would be 2030.
So you run for re-election 2027, and then again 2030.
2027 and 2028?
No, 2030.
2030.
And we will send a letter to every single candidate and elected to let them know, what's happening, because It's nice to know that you have a shortened term for to 3 from 4.
3-year term.
We did that.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, Ms. Lorelli,
Yes, hi. I just had one question, follow-up on your Xeroxing capabilities and things like that. Do you have the necessary machines that you need to print ballots and mailings and things like that? Are you setting those out for?
No, we print, we have a whole ballot printing room. We build our ballots, build the election, we print those ballots. We also, of course, when we have the ballot on demand machines, that might make it a little bit easier, but we do it all in-house.
So follow up on that, and I think I didn't ask it right. So when you're sending out absentee ballots, you're manually stuffing those?
Yes.
This
Is there
year.
a machine or some type of technology that would?
Well, we can
help
mail
you with
those
that?
out. We can sometimes Fort Orange Press or another, it's Fort Orange that we do.
Fort Orange Press, on major election years like gubernatorial, a major election years like gubernatorial, presidential elections, we use a printing house like Fort Orange, and actually they have the advantage of using a tracker system for absentee ballots. We have a tracker system now, but the advantage of that is that they can literally tell you when it was delivered to a person's house. So there are some years where we do it in-house, like this year, you can't justify the expense of going outside contractually when we can stuff them in-house and just mail them out. But there are years where it's overwhelming. It's thousands, tens of thousands, and we have to contract out for it.
all right, I'm going to thank you all for your presentation. It's always very educational, and I'm impressed by your knowledge of what, you're doing down at the Board of Elections. And so I just want to thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, Madam Chairwoman.
All right, I'd like to have.
Thank you.
It's almost over.
Yeah, one more, I think.
Hey, Riley, he's been sitting here all night.
Keep them waiting.
You can skip me, that's what. Go for it.
My batteries are running a little low, so it's not really.
So management and budget is found on pages 134 through 144 in the budget book.
So, Madam Chair, I had a little statement here prepared to start this off, but a lot of that was already spoken to the other night, and seeing how it's getting a little late, I think it's probably in everybody's best interest that we just kind of jump into it.
Okay, so now, do we have any questions from the committee?
Thank you, Madam Chairman. The bus stop arm program seems to be down 100,000 in this budget. Do you know why that would be?
Oh, it is because in certain school districts that we've had it in for the earlier implemented ones, it's already starting to trend off, which thankfully was actually the original purpose of it. So the drivers seem to be getting it. We did add the last school district in the county recently, so that should kind of get to a plateau. And
There's a increase in revenue for $3 million for sale of property. Can you expand upon what property is being sold?
which division are we looking at here? Because it has multiple sales of property lines.
136.
136, page 136, and it's,
So that line, it's the bottom line on 136. That is in contemplation of how the mercantile building had originally been kind of on the market, then that had fallen off with everything that had happened here. I know that the county exec has basically continued the process. The end goal is to be out of that building at some point. So that was taking the original numbers on that, and then I believe one other smaller parcel that we're looking at selling as an estimate.
So this is the Mercantile Building, what other building?
I would have to check with Mr. Lally. There was one other smaller parcel in there, I believe.
You expect to sell next year, though?
Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay, do I have any other questions? Mr. Grimm?
Madam Clerk, thank you, Madam Chair. Informational services, a big jump here, 32 to 38 employees.
Yep.
Justification?
Well, informational services, I believe, will be here tomorrow, so I don't want to steal all of their thunder. But the gist of it is, we've realized over the past 4 or 5 years that for far too long, we did not spend what we needed to spend here for information technology. We have a very aging server room here. Our infrastructure all over the county is kind of hitting end of life. And we have an aging workforce that has a skill set that, was cutting edge 10, 15 years ago, and they've continued their education and things like that. But we need to keep bringing in people with bigger and broader skill sets. Like 10 years ago, you didn't have cybersecurity people. You didn't need network, specific people just looking over network closets, working on your firewall specifically. You had one network person that could kind of do everything. It's gotten far more complex.
Dave, a question, page 137 at the bottom there. You have New York State casino revenue. Is that the Schenectady Casino?
Yes,
Okay, so you have it labeled New York State.
because it comes from the state.
It's just the state law.
It's through the state program,
They
yes.
have to give us money just because we happen to be neighbors.
Yep.
basically. And medical marijuana aid, exactly what is that about?
That is the legal or the recreational marijuana. So the 750 comes into us, and then we parse out 75% of that to the municipalities where the sale was done, and we keep 25%.
Okay, the locality where the sale is gets more than we do though, as I recall.
Correct, they get 3 times, we get 1.
Yeah, okay, thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Grimm. Ms. Evans?
In your original correspondence here, you had listed several titles for raises, and
Yes.
some of them are outside of the 3%. Can you explain?
Yes, so I'd actually sent that back to staff earlier today. I thought you had gotten it already. So for the commissioner, deputies, director, and special assistant, those were all contemplated when the deputy county executive was up here. He explained how kind of for senior level, we had done a deep dive comparing people to other neighboring counties, municipalities, things like that, just, because we have had some issues specifically with recruitment, but also with retention at that level. So we kind of looked at those. So, yes, that's where those ones came into play. Outside of that, there's also some, increased workload, especially on my team. If you notice, I'm running a bit leaner team now than I was a couple of years ago, partly due to a vacancy that I'm unable to fill. I've interviewed 3 rounds of people for it, and I can't fill a basic budget analyst at this point. The senior foreclosure clerk, and clerk 1, those were all based on the increased workload expected over the next few years for the, basically the wave of foreclosure and tax delinquent processing that we're gonna have to be doing after the state moratorium, and then the federal court issues that kind of held everything up for several years. So we're anticipating basically double workload for those people over the next 3 years. Or for that team, not each individual person doing double workload.
Thank you.
Let's see here. Can you comment on the continued use of enhanced pay and accrued liability? Page 138.
Yep. So the accrued liability I'll hit first because that tends to be the easiest one. That tends to be when somebody leaves with a large accrual, whether it's comp time, vacation time, things like that. And it's a one-off position, like a deputy commissioner, a commissioner, a manager of a certain group. Historically, we always had to take it out of that budgetary line. So by putting one centralized line, we were able to kind of point the pay at that line and rehire the actual position earlier. It's only used in times both when it's, an urgency to get someone in there, as well as, we have the means to do it. So this is kind of a centralized line for all the departments to use. Actually, the vast majority of it this year was used by the DA's office when they processed out their vacation payouts that he did not process out before he left at year end.
All right, and can you explain the staffing restructure and any salary increases above the 3% in your budget?
I think I just did that with Miss Alex.
Discuss increasing revenues in the 1310 account, and specifically explain the new $50,000 forfeiture proceeds.
Let me do that in front of me. The 50,000 forfeiture of deposits, I'm actually gonna have to ask Jeff Neal about. That is one of his, but I will get that back to you in writing. Were there any other specifics? Because there was, interest income on investments, basically, we're close to where we're budget, or where we're actuals right now. The interest and penalty on property tax, as well as the interest and penalty on school tax, those both contemplate that that a very large delinquent back taxpayer will be coming whole on their taxes this year.
All right, and review the amounts presented in 6989, the strategic economic growth and development, and that's on page 143.
So that is the hotel occupancy tax. So the change contemplated there is we're now adding the half point for the Albany County Alliance funding as per the new statute. So now it's 6.5% instead of 6%. So the increase is both tied to the increase of 0.5% of collections, as well as, internal growth, and then the third factor being short-term rentals coming on board with that, which is about $1 million of the total.
Okay. Are there any other questions? Yes, Dr. McLaughlin?
Yes, could you just explain to me what the tax on adult use cannabis is on page 136?
Yeah, that's the recreational marijuana.
I know, okay, but it says that's the tax as a contractual expense that we,
Yeah, so we bring in the revenue, all 4 percentage points. That gives us the 3 points to go out, the distribution to the municipalities. That's the 937,000. That's what goes back to the towns, cities, wherever the stores are. And then the 312 above it is the 1 point that we keep. And that can then be utilized for like mental health programs, things like that. But it can actually be spent on things tied to that.
now, I noticed, I heard on the news the other day where even in the state money, there were 50 nonprofit organizations that were giving state money. Do we have a system where we identify organizations that?
Not to my knowledge. Just so we know, like the numbers we're talking about, the state, I believe, has over 10 points of tax on it based on potency, how strong it is. The municipalities get 3%, we get 1%. So we're a much smaller pool than everybody else.
Yes, Ms. Rosano?
Could you tell me what a bag reduction fee is?
Yeah, so when you're at the grocery store and they charge you 5 cents for that paper bag, we get to keep 2 cents of that, the state keeps 3 cents of it, so the state remits that back to us. We're then required to use that to pay for reusable bags. So when you see those little tote bags that have been given out for the past year and a half or whatever, that's what pays for those.
Where does it show up on the income?
Was that?
On the revenue side, where does that show up? I can find it.
The revenue, it's all in 1310,
Yeah,
so
I see
the.
it, actually, I see it.
Yep. Yeah,
Okay, Ms. Rosano?
Excuse me. Hi.
Yes.
Can you tell me, if all of these increases in the salaries occur, over the 3%, do you have a number that you can say how much more it will cost the county for these raises?
I could put that together, I don't have it offhand.
Thank you.
Yep.
Okay, I'm sorry.
Would you like that net of positions I'm taking out to balance that out?
Just, yes, so I
Okay.
can see, so we can see.
Okay.
All right, are there any other questions? If there are no other questions, I want to thank you very much for your presentation.
Motion.
And I have
You
motion
win.
adjourned.
Yeah.
20 seconds.
Yeah,
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Have a good day.
Happy birthday. Thank you.